Hey, everybody, welcome to the Shed Show. I'm so glad to be back on here with you, and I have with me my brother from another mother, Ian Sherman,
Hey
who's
yo,
with us from New York. So, how you doing, my brother?
I'm so hit you with that Detroit though. What up though? Let's take it home, baby, to that mighty mitten. Come
Let's
on,
do it.
man, to the mighty mitten.
Oh my
How
God, I
you
know.
feeling?
I forget that I'm from Michigan sometimes, man.
I'm gonna tell you right now. In today's dark ass times, I'm so proud to be from Michigan. I'm like
Um,
they're leading. They are leading in states' rights. They are leading.
yeah,
They care
they are
about women's
doing.
health. They care about their children. They care about the EPA and fresh body of water. Like, let's talk.
Yep.
They hold terrorists, domestic terrorists, accountable.
And then we have Florida,
Pure Michigan, and then you have the armpit of the world,
the
Florida,
fascist Florida. Yeah.
fascist
Oh,
Florida.
good old
You
fashioned
know,
Florida.
I have to say, I still am giving Bob Iger mad props because he is playing chess,
Yeah.
and DeSantis, as much as he has his one, his one move, his behind the podium, and for the most part talking down to everybody about what is right to
Yep.
his perspective. It's quite interesting to see how Disney has laid out everything and to watch DeSantis and his goons, thugs, go above and beyond to try to take them out. There is 200, at least 200. We're talking about Speedway, the villages, Disney, that all have special districts that all are in the same boat.
Yep.
And they're going after Disney as a retaliation. And he has it well documented. And this being in the courts, it's beautiful. It's
They're gonna
beautiful.
destroy them.
It's gonna be bad for DeSantis, and it's funny because every Republican I talk to, and for the most part, Republicans are for their own. Like we get it.
Yeah.
I've watched you from the sidelines talking about Hunter and Joe, and you're like, "Look, man, if they're guilty, they're fucking guilty. Do what you do.
Look, I'm
Do
lock
what you
them up.
do." Everybody with DeSantis, don't follow the money. We don't want you to see how we're spending our money. We're
Yep.
taking all these trips across the world. We're embarrassing ourselves and our state. Europe literally has been using Florida as like you can go to hell for the most part. It's like you can go to Florida. And it's like the way that they're using it is so well done. Wow. It's
Yeah.
it's
Chef
pathetic. It's
kiss.
absolutely pathetic.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's good to see you though, brother.
Yeah, you too, man. I hope the family's doing well.
Everybody's
Um,
good, man. Everybody's
yeah.
good.
Good.
Keeping everybody, everybody's doing their part. Everybody.
Yeah. Hey man, we're same over here. Kids are almost done with school. Jen's done. My wife, she took 4 classes at U of A and she got 3 A's and 1 B+.
Give
Yeah,
her her
she,
flowers, man. Give her her
dude, on
flowers.
top of doing 85% of the work of schooling the kids at home, and you
That's
know
100% of the work at home.
dude, it's not easy. I mean, like
Mm-mm.
I say all the time, my wife and I have gained a whole new appreciation for teachers
Oh yeah.
over the course of the last few years, because why we still have, they still have teachers and it's still very structured. You see what they deal with between
Right.
all the kids. You see it
Right.
virtually, and it's like, holy crap, like you guys deal with a lot. And yeah, so it just gives you a whole new appreciation. But yeah, my wife's kicking
100%.
ass and kids are doing good, and they're about to be done. And we've got a little trip planned. We're going to take them up to Phoenix for the weekend, and
Mm.
they have like a Jurassic Park that's like Disney on Ice, but it's the dinosaurs.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Jurassic Park on ice.
it's not on
Are you
ice. I
getting
don't think.
chased by a T Rex?
I
And
do
can you
think we're going to
move?
be getting chased because Jen got us the floor seats where the dinosaurs come right up to you. So I'm actually excited for this.
Dinos on ice. If I just see T Rexes just slipping and falling and everything,
Oh,
that'd be
my,
everything.
and honestly, Dominic's so into dinosaurs, so we're going to do that
That's
in
amazing.
Legoland, and that's going to be their little trip after finishing school. So
I
I'm
love that,
excited for that.
man. Congratulations, man. One more year knocked off for the
Yeah, I'm
kids,
telling you,
man.
they're going fast,
Yo,
man.
yo, trying to raise them right. It's funny because Lil Man, he's 18 months, and uh, to me, your diet is everything. You know, what you listen to, what you watch. So I say all that to say to you, I introduced DMX to his diet, and and let me tell you, my son may be looking at me differently. He started growling, so it's game on. He definitely saw me get hype and jump on some furniture. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in
Up
here.
in here.
Little man saw me jump up. He was like, "What is Daddy doing?" I was like, "Yo, you ain't ready for this energy, boy. You ain't ready for this. Take it to the streets, son. I'll take you to the
Let me
streets."
ask you though: is it like when we were driving in the car the other day? Because our kids are 9 and 7, so yeah, they repeat everything they hear now. And we're driving the other day, and I forget what song came on, but next thing you know, it's F this, da da da, and Jen's like, nope. She's like hitting the button in the car.
Bro, I got little white Barry White over there, and I just don't need him doing any profanity right now at daycare at all.
I'm telling
And
you,
I already know some of the music I'm putting him up on. It's gonna bite me in the back end. But
the
you know what? I'll
Eminem,
take it.
the
I'll take it.
Eminem is gonna be
I'll take
rough.
it.
That's gonna be rough. Yeah,
I'm gonna wait until high school for that. As much as
yeah.
as long as junior high. I'll wait until junior high.
I was gonna say,
That's
come on, man. I had a
it's junior
Tupac
high.
CD. Yeah,
Yeah.
come
Okay.
on.
Well, Tupac's different. That's a revolution right there, man.
That dude, I
That's a
tell people that all
revolution
the time.
right
I
there.
know we're going all over the place, but when
Yeah,
you're talking about rap music and hip hop and whatever,
that's
like
amazing.
Tupac, I still listen to it today. Like
It's
these songs, they don't they're timeless.
It is.
Unfortunately,
It is timeless. It's interesting. I listened to Changes, and it's interesting because when he has that line, "We're not ready to see a black president," I just thought to myself, what if Tupac was alive and he got to see Barack Obama? How that would feel for him throughout the whole struggle of being this voice, this prominent voice, at such a young age.
yep,
I mean, we asked too much of our youth.
25.
You know what I mean? And it's like we asked so much of him. And that's you're talking about 25 as in like when he was like at the pinnacle. He was
Oh, he lived a
23.
life. He lived a
I
whole life by
mean,
then.
he was with Digital Underground at 19, 20. Like he was
Yep,
doing his thing as a backup
yep,
dancer. I mean, he was doing it all. But yeah, but it's quite interesting to just see what we put on his shoulders. And yeah, that music definitely speaks volume, even to today.
yep,
And even just it's a time capsule of what it was like then.
yep.
So it's
But the
really
crazy thing
documented
is,
well.
95 would have been when change 95, 96, I think would have been when Changes came out. And
Yeah.
think about that. Obama was elected in 2008. That's
Yeah.
only,
Yeah.
it wasn't that long.
I'm
12,
having
what,
a
12
little bit of
years?
tequila for this episode,
Yeah,
for a
man.
couple toasts on
We're
some
seven
good things
minutes.
that we
By
talked
the
about.
time we're 30 minutes in, this is going to get interesting.
Maybe,
We haven't even started the
maybe.
politics yet.
What do you mean, Shed? What do you mean?
What are you talking about? Yeah. So if the
That's for Tupac.
if the broadcast shuts off quickly, you'll know why. Um,
I'm
so
embarrassing myself. Go ahead.
so, but what I wanted, let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty stuff, which is the politics. And I wanted to ask you and kind of give you the mic for a second and ask you what things were like, because we haven't gotten to talk since Trump was
Yeah.
arrested, and
Yeah.
then on top of that, George Santos was turned
He was just
himself
now
in,
indicted. Yeah,
now
well,
indicted. So,
the
what
politician
was
turning.
yeah, what was that? What was that like in New York? Did you see a lot of that? Did you feel any of that like energy going on?
It's interesting because I mean, you feel the energy because the traffic is stifling for Trump for Trump.
Yeah,
And so being in the city, it's a grid. I can't with the news coverage where they're filming it like it's OJ in the Bronco all over again. Watching the motorcade. It's like it's not serious. It's not even that
it was
important.
crazy.
Biden's in town yesterday, and it's like anytime a president is in New York, it's kind of gridlock in certain areas. It just becomes a little bit more of a hassle to get
Yeah,
around. It's doable, but it's just you got to know New York to get around. So with Trump, it was downtown Manhattan. I live in Brooklyn. I could see the shit show from across the river, because I got out in time. I got out before everything was kind of happening, so it worked out in my favor. My
yeah.
wife, on the other hand, she got delayed by about an hour of just traveling. Mind you, it's only like 7 miles, and it took her almost an hour and a half, almost two, to get home. And that's
Wow.
that's New York. You know what I mean? It's very compressed, but that's a lot of people from point A to point B.
Yeah.
So that was that. You, Honestly, it was mostly news coverage versus Trump supporters, like these clowns. Marjorie was there, your favorite. She was there, and she got booed the fuck out of. Like, it was just like, this is not the place. Like,
Yeah.
you come here, you about to hear about yourself. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody holding back for you.
Well,
Nobody. And there's only so much the cops can do, as in like, you know, calming your voice. You ain't calming nothing. People are about to say what they're going to say and
Yeah.
keep it moving. And that's the one thing I love about New York, man. They tell you exactly what they're thinking.
Yep.
Period. They're
They
telling you
ran
what
her
they're
out of
thinking.
there so fast. It
Yeah,
was,
she thought she was about to be something, and they're like,
she
"You
did.
ain't shit here. You ain't shit here." And then
Nope.
George Santos, it's like, who? He just fell in the crowd. He was nothing.
Yeah.
He literally means nothing in the city. Everybody knows him as a scam. When you have your own party, especially as Republican freshmen, who are telling you to resign, that you're an embarrassment. Stefanik is the only one who's sitting right by his side, and I wouldn't be surprised it's because if somebody got dirt. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where she and McCarthy are trying to hold on so dearly to that one seat of extra buffer of him
Yep.
losing his power, and so
Yep.
you know they're going to bend over backwards to try to just deflect. You know, just ostrich with their head in the sand. But
Yeah.
George Santos, he's in Long Island. He's maybe about an hour away from the city, not even. So that no one feels that.
Yeah.
Nobody over here. You know, that's going into Long Island, and that's a trip. You know, to get there, 45 minutes. You know, to get over there. So we don't feel it. But I'll tell you, all his constituents, like literally the people who feel scammed by him, they're showing up at his office, and he's not there. And I'm trying to figure out who's my man that's with him. He looks like his bodyguard, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He looks like he's maybe Trinidadian. I don't know, but it's like he looks. You are. He looks like he stole something. You know what I'm saying? My bad. He looks so suspect in the first. If you go back and look at the very first footage, it's like him in streetwear, and he's like, you know, he's trying to be tough, and then he realized that the cameras will get out of your way, and they'll just follow you. So then he started being in all like suited up. It's all fitted suits and everything. But
Mhm.
like he's a large man, so it's like you know that shirt's tucked in and like maybe tucked in the underwear kind of look. You know what I mean? Like trying to keep it all together. It's foolishness, man. But he definitely he just it's almost comical to see. It's like a comic book villain. It's how they come
Mm.
off. It's so childish. It's so ridiculous. But
Yeah.
you
It's
know,
watching George Santos, and I like what you said because it's very true. They're really trying to hang on to that vote
yeah,
because they can control it to some degree. You know, they know at the end of the day he's going to
right.
fold because he has to, and now it all they got to do is look at him and be like, if you want us to keep protecting you, you're going to vote our way.
And that's what's been happening. He's voted with
Yep.
McCarthy the entire way, and that's you already see what it is.
Yep.
It's clear as day, and so that's why he's like, is you because there's no committees. He's just there to vote for McCarthy. McCarthy's not going to say anything until times because he keeps pushing the field goal back. He keeps saying, well,
Yeah.
we all understand innocent until proven guilty. I get it, but when he's already being indicted by Brazilian, government for crimes he did, and now he's doing a plea deal. You're already clearly but you're also a liar. Everybody's caught you in your lies, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Someone
And
asked me about him recently. I go, why do I even care? He's not. There's no truth coming from him. I don't care what he says.
yeah,
I don't care. I just don't care. You're done. You're not worth the conversation.
no. And his social media posts are laughable. You know, like you said, he's
I
not
don't
a
even check him
serious
out.
he's
I
not a
don't check him
serious
out.
person. Well,
No.
unfortunately, I end up running into him, but it's just insane to me that our system allowed him to be sworn in the first place. Like
Get
all this
get this.
information was not new. You know what I'm
Ryan, get
saying?
this. Get this. He can be indicted and in jail and still a U.S. senator.
And that's where the system is
Let that sink
completely
in.
screwed.
Let that sink
I
in.
don't even need to let that marinate. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Yep.
crazy.
That's our system. That's our system.
I mean, look at Donald Trump though. Oh, let's give him
Agent
let's give him a
Agent
platform on
Orange.
CNN.
Well, first off, CNN, eh, we need to figure out they're going through a midlife crisis, and I think they're speed dating right now with Don. Okay, there's a speed date going on there. They literally they get rid of Don Lemon, they bring on Donnie, and it's like they're going through speed dating. And I thought once you go black, you never go back, but they went orange. They went orange,
Oh, geez.
and so here we are. And but I thought I don't even know her name. I know she was the morning show with Don, but Caitlin, whoever hosted, terrible
Oh,
job.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's interesting to see the news coverage talk about her dropping the ball on this opportunity. Um, my man straight up said that she's a liar and that she's
A
the
nasty,
nasty.
nasty
You know what I'm
person.
saying? And she, I don't think she had the chops to really navigate a lot of that. But at the same time, you knew walking into that it was going to be a dogfight, and it's interesting to see CNN's coverage of it saying they really revealed some things about Donald. Newsflash, you ain't reveal shit. We
Nope.
all know who this man is. He's been saying the same thing. You just now put it on a bigger platform. That's it. That's it. And I
Yeah.
think that the Biden administration is very pompous because they think there's going to be a walk in the park. And they don't realize in their own backyard that people are starting to look at him like nobody wants you.
Yeah.
Like they need to start thinking bigger than Donald. We got this in the bag. It's against Donald. You need to start thinking bigger than that. You need to start thinking about how you can actually take care of people because there's a real crisis, not this man-made crisis that's happening with McCarthy or with anything that the GOP is just creating because they have no platform. There's a crisis of people who really do need help in this country. Mental health is a real situation that we really need to focus on. Education is a real situation. There's real things that need to be on the chopping block. And here's the GOP talking about trying to chop for you, VA, chop away
Hmm.
your benefits. You know what I mean? Like it's like what are we doing here?
Well, and like you said, we can talk about the debt ceiling crisis in a minute, but I just I don't know. What bothered me the most was that the fact that CNN would even platform him at all, especially the day prior. The day prior, that verdict comes in, that $5 million verdict.
Yeah.
That and I made this comparison on Twitter, and I need people to understand this. Like, we all knew OJ did it, even though the criminal trial came back as acquitted or whatever it was. We all knew he did it, and then when it came time for the civil trial, they determined that he did it,
Yeah.
and he had to pay a crap ton of money. So this is the same thing. Like, a jury found that what was said by her was correct, and what was said by him was defamation and libel. All the things that he posted and said about her.
Right. Right.
So I understand it is not a direct criminal, uh, what's it called, charge or whatever,
Oh,
but
conviction? Yeah.
conviction. Thank you. But it is still proof that what she said was true.
You know what she said that I thought was really interesting that no one really picked up on?
Hmm.
How small his penis is that she couldn't even feel it.
Did she
She
really?
said that his penis may have been inside me. I couldn't feel it.
Oh, damn.
And I don't know why I took from that. I just thought, his small hands, everything about him,
Oh, I
that I
know.
just,
And then Stormy Daniels too. Like,
I
I
mean, it is,
told you, he exaggerates about shit.
you know what I mean? He's a 1 minute man. That's all I got from all this bullshit. I mean, I'm not making fun of his
No, yeah, yeah. Don't
tragedy,
please don't
but
misconstrue
it's
that.
no, no, no. But it's one of those things where I'm just like, her words, I didn't feel it. I don't know if he was inside me, and I'm just like, all right, well, Trump, you're a piece of shit. Period. Everybody knows that you're a piece of shit. Everybody
Yep.
knows.
And she's
Literally,
not the only one that's accused him of this stuff.
no,
There's a
no, no,
long
no,
laundry list.
no. But it's
She's
like,
just the one that,
and
as
this is
as Michael Rappaport said, he's just the one that the pussy grabbed back.
the pussy grab back. Straight up, the pussy grab back. The pussy grab back.
Michael
He got.
Rappaport had me rolling, man.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's so funny. I didn't even realize that he said it because I said the same exact thing. I was just like, the pussy grabs
Well, I mean,
back
a lot of
at five
people did,
million.
but yeah,
Everybody knows.
his
Everybody
video,
knows,
he
man.
did this video, and he's like, he grabbed back.
Yes,
I was dying.
yes.
Okay,
It's so
so we
good.
got the CNN town hall. Um, so
But
let's,
the CNN. My question for that
yeah,
is not to speed past
no,
it.
no, go ahead.
Why did CNN fill it with all Trump supporters?
Good question.
I don't understand why it wouldn't be. If you were
But would
going to
liberals
do
want to
this,
go?
but this is my point. If you were going to do this and you wanted it to be a actual town hall,
Mm,
wouldn't you have real people there on both sides to listen to this man and to engage?
Yeah.
Because what else are we staging here? That's the thing that, you know,
Staging. I like
you
that.
know what I mean? So it's interesting to see now a lot of social media coming from conservatives where they're like, and major applause. Yeah, it's your cult. Like, of course, there's gonna
Of
be
course
major
they're
applause.
pausing.
You know what I'm saying? He just called the host nasty, and they're cheering. Like,
Yeah.
what? This is red meat for you guys. So the question is, and I have to ask, does CNN hate her? Like, why did they give her this job? Like, really? Because I
Oh,
mean, I know Don wasn't available, so it's like, what, who did they? How did this work out? You
I
know what I
only
mean?
watched clips because I just didn't want to
I
watch
won't
the whole
watch anything
thing.
Trump. I won't watch it.
Yeah,
I
I
have,
knew people would post clips, and I think I only posted one or two. I posted the
yeah,
nasty one because I'm like, of course he called her a nasty woman or whatever. Um,
right,
but you know what I took from it? I feel like CNN and the host were trying to be hard hitting, and ask, like, she asked one question where it was like, why did it take you 3 hours plus to say anything on January 6th? And he pulls this piece of paper out of his jacket and like looks at the crowd like he's got receipts and pulls it out and talks about some post he made the day prior. And everybody's like, yeah, he brought receipts. And I'm like, bitch, that wasn't the question. The question was, why did your ass fucking wait 3 hours on January 6th to tell people to go
her
the fuck
follow
home?
up was weak, man.
That was the
Her follow
question.
up was weak, right?
So
Her
it was just
follow up,
like,
yeah,
but he's making a big, thing of it. And what do I
yeah,
see today? Marjorie Taylor Greene fucking posting that, and other people. Oh, he's so unstoppable. Are you
yeah,
kidding me? And
yeah,
then if you are able to go watch this man speak and not just completely lose it, please let me remind you that a lot of the right is saying that Biden can't speak. He isn't mentally sharp. Go
right,
watch that man last night and tell me that that man's mentally sharp. He talks circles around a dog. Like, it doesn't even
yeah,
make sense. He doesn't
yeah.
even finish his sentences, for
He
God's
trails
sake.
off. He trails off. But that's the thing. He keeps you busy where you're trying to figure out what's going
Like,
on that you forget what the hell the original question
what
was.
did you just
I mean,
say?
that's any con man, though. That's
Yeah.
any
Oh,
con man, and that's the
100%.
thing about New York is that it's a con. You know what I mean? So I think he is actually very smart. I just think that he's just a big fucking con, and he's not there for anybody who was cheering for him. He's there to stay the fuck out of jail. He's there for himself. He's there for his own riches. He's there for his
Yep.
brand, which is him and his family. And I think he barely cares for them. So he's a narcissist. He's taking care of his
Yep.
own. He, I don't know what's happening right now with Melania, but she's not coming out saying she's for him.
She did
Maybe he
come out.
found out
She
that
did come
the
out.
budget was drying
No,
up.
she did.
You know what
She
I'm
did come
saying?
out.
But I'm saying, but now she's
Oh,
coming
yeah,
out.
yeah.
So it's like, what? Did she find out the budget's drying up? Yeah, we need this presidency
We
to get
need
that
that
money
money.
back. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it's those kind of things that exist. But he's a con. I expect him to do the dance, the song and dance, and keep you
Yeah.
busy. Uh, uh, I'm just gonna have my son watch him read and just say, you could either be this, you know what I'm saying,
I was like, I knew right
or
where you were
listen to
going
a
with that.
speech. You know what I'm saying? Or listen to a speech of somebody who can actually talk and
Yeah.
communicate and read and be like, or you could be this. Both became president, but I'm just saying one's an asshole. You know what I mean? That's the reality. So that's how we're gonna look at that. That's gonna be the
All right.
juggle.
So
That
let's move.
no matter what, you have to understand that was your president.
Yeah. Yeah. I still can't believe he was my president for 4 years. But anyway, um, let's move on to the mass shootings. Um,
Hmm.
I, I know we're all get.
Are you desensitized yet? Are you
It's
desensitized?
hard not to be. Like, I post it on Twitter, and I do it because I'm trying to piss people off. But it just hits hard. It still hits hard every day. And I say, here's today's mass shooting. I start every post about a mass shooting. Here's today's mass shooting. Here's today's second mass shooting. Here's today's sixth mass
Yeah.
shooting. And when you see my Twitter feed and it's like mass shooting, mass shooting, mass shooting, it's like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And
Starting to look like a AR clip, doesn't it?
mhm. And I mean, we were talking about it before, and I need people. I'm going to count this out for people, and this is on gunviolencearchive.org. They have a sheet that tracks all mass shootings, so you can go to this and
Mm.
see, and they provide the source, everything, all the information that you need. So I went to it before the show, and Ian and I were talking. I was like, I know this weekend there was at least 12 this past weekend. So in 72 hours between May 5th and May 7th, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 mass shootings in 72 hours. So
Yeah.
now I just have to say, and I don't know if you saw any of these photos, but
This is the Allen. You're talking about Allen,
yeah,
Texas?
and it
Yeah.
was the one by the outlet mall, and the kids were
Yeah.
shot. And a lot of people on, I say my side, the left, the liberal side, were posting it because we're all tired of mass shootings, every single one of us. But
Yeah.
that being said, you can put a trigger warning on a video because I have to click play to watch the video. So I have to make the decision to read that trigger warning and go, I'm still going to watch
Right.
this video, knowing that it's probably going to
Right.
upset me or piss me off.
Yeah.
When you put a trigger warning on a photo and you post it on social media, the problem is that there's no option for me to hit play. I saw the photos before I saw the trigger warning. For people that have
Mm.
PTSD or have gone through trauma, those
Yeah.
photos will fuck them up for a while.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
posting it for a political point is not acceptable. I understand that a lot of people feel that, everybody needs to see those photos, but that's not your decision to make. That's not my decision to make.
But it's becoming gun porno
Well,
for
it's
me.
trauma
Like
porn. It's
it's
trauma
not
porn.
it's trauma porn. That's better. It's
Yeah,
trauma porn. It's really grotesque that it's flooding everything, but it's not even the. I get the reason why.
I get it too.
I
Like
get I get that, but at the same time, we're now normalizing it.
yeah.
Um, it's to me, it's in the same boat as school um, shooter drills.
Hmm.
It just doesn't make sense to me. A shooter drill. I'm not saying that people shouldn't know what to do in a situation,
I should call it an anxiety drill.
but where I'm puzzled by this is there's a couple things that are happening. You're traumatizing an entire generation of children who should not be thinking about survival.
Nope.
It shouldn't. That should be the first thing. That's very simple, basic. They should be in a school where they can learn, not a prison or fortress as they
Yep.
call it. Fortified classrooms, all these things. I mean, do I understand like bulletproof glass? Yeah, sure. All right. Um, Teachers with guns? Absolutely not. Hallway monitors with guns? Absolutely not.
Call them what they'd be. They'd be
Um,
rent-a-cops. They'd be
I
rent a
mean, it would
security.
be it, and you know who was a rent a cop? George Zimmerman, Neighborhood Watch. You know, shot Trayvon over Skittles,
Yep.
and it's just gonna be a matter of time when you start having those kind of moments happening, and especially in Florida. There's gonna be a lot of stand your ground that's gonna take place, and they're supposed to be the ones that are
Yep.
protecting. So it's gonna be a lot of mishaps that are gonna go through, and we're saying everything except for what the issue is. And I understand that criminals can get a gun, but it seems that they aren't a criminal until these crimes are caused.
Yeah.
So it's legally purchased. It's maybe registered. If you're in Florida, good luck.
Texas.
You can just buy that shit and walk around with it. Um, Florida man shoots himself. I look forward to those stories coming up. And it's just one of those things where I just feel like we've really gotten out of hand with all this. I didn't when everything happened in Allen, Texas. I was with the family and we were walking around Dumbo. We lived real close to it. We walked over there, and as we got closer to the park, a lot of families. We saw squadrons of police with the ARs on their
Mhm.
chests, and so we saw groups of them walking around. And my wife is like, "Oh, look at big bad Americans like flexing their gun power." And I go, "Oh, no, no, no. There was a shooting, and this is protection. This is what we're looking at right now in
Yep.
America. This is what it looks like now. We literally look like, I mean, I don't know how free you feel. This doesn't feel free.
No.
It doesn't. I I have a conscious decision when I walk into a room that I know where the exit is,
Yep.
and I've been like that since Columbine. Now it's on a different level where it's one of those things of like understanding that anything could pop off at any moment, um, and just being mentally prepared for that. The one thing I will say to you is, as dangerous as New York City can be, you don't need a gun.
Yeah.
We don't have guns. People, I'm sure someone has one. I'm sure it happens. There was a guy with the gun. He shot in the train. Somehow didn't really do damage. I mean, if it was an AR, it clearly would have been a lot of damage done to the folks in that subway. Um, but I don't know how somehow in our minds we pull it off without having it. But I also know that we get so angry with each other that if we did have it, I could see how there'd be a lot of uptick of fear and a lot of
Yeah.
mishaps and people losing their life. You know, which that'll lead into the most recent killing on a train. When good deeds, uh, you know, I don't know how I feel about that either. But we'll jump into that. That's the Jordan Neely
Well, no,
murder.
that's next on the
Um,
list. Let's hit it. Um,
but yeah, I'm desensitized. I'm personally
well, I
desensitized.
know, and I hope you don't mind me mentioning this, but I know I text you, either the day after or a few days after, the whole Jordan Neely event went down,
Yeah.
and
Oh, we love you, man.
yeah,
We
no,
love you.
but it's just, for me, it's just letting friends know, like, hey, I see you, I know this has got to suck, and you know, um,
It's Well, I'm gonna tell you something. It is. I've seen Jordan on the train. I've been on the train and watched him do his Michael Jackson thing. There's these little things where you see people. To me, New York is a small town, very small town. You see the staples of these people being the one jazz musician that has this corner,
mhm,
the one subway performer, Showtime going up to Harlem. There's these staples that exist within the DNA of the
yeah,
city. And I've seen Jordan perform, doing his thing. The tragic situation that is Jordan, is that I remember when I first moved here, his mother was killed, and he was a young boy, and she was killed by her boyfriend, and it was the way that her murder unfolded. She was stuffed in a suitcase and thrown off of like a bridge onto like some train tracks. And I remember reading about that, and that's why when I first moved here, and I was like, "What the hell is going on in New York? Like what? Like when you're living here and you start hearing all the local
yeah,
news, you just hear some wild stuff, and you're like, what? Like just what happened there? What happened that it got to that point? And then you think to yourself that this little boy was so traumatized by this, and he had to grow up without his mother, which is always a very tragic thing. No father, had to bounce around within family, lived in Jersey and all these things, and then fast forward into, it was just having a bad day. And to me, um, all he needed was probably a sandwich. All he needed was, a bottle of water. All he needed was just someone to acknowledge his existence. And riding the train as much as I have in the city, you get people who are crazy and doing their thing and acting up, and you just keep it moving. Like it's not this. No one's hurting
yeah,
you. No one is really. Have I seen some situations go down? I have, but never to an extent where someone puts someone in a chokehold and then holds them for 15 minutes. Like that's just common sense. I understand you put them in a chokehold, or you grip them up for 5 minutes and you try to calm the
yeah,
situation. But the train stops at you can get somebody off a
hmm,
train. And there was an article that happened. It was maybe 5 years ago. It was before the pandemic. Um, there was a group of Swedish officers on vacation in New York, and the same situation happened where it was a homeless person, mentally unstable, got into a fight with somebody, and these Swedish officers, without any incident, got both gentlemen on the ground, face down, without even a bloody nose, and they asked them, "Do you need water? Do you need something?" And they literally tried to accommodate these people who were in such a heated moment. And then the cops came in, of course, NYPD. I'm sure someone got stomped when they got involved. But the Swedish police showed that there is another way.
yeah,
There is another way. And it's like, why? have we lost that level of humanity in one another where it's just like I've found myself at 3 in the morning walking around the city with food on me and seeing someone homeless be like, yo, you hungry? And they'll be like, thank you. Or in some situations, they've thrown it at me. And I'm just like, all right, well, fuck it. You didn't need it. Like, it's like, you ain't starving. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I,
I thought it was delicious. I just wanted to share my
I
meal with
think
you. But, you know, it is
for
what it is.
me, um, for me, the mental health aspect of it really bothered me because,
Yeah.
reading, and I need to go read and see if anything else has come out, but a lot of the witnesses that I read said that he didn't touch anybody. He was being loud. He was
They usually don't. They
Yeah, he
usually
was
don't.
being loud. He was being disruptive,
Yeah.
but he didn't physically touch anybody. So it's like, why
Yeah.
the fuck did you, not you, but why did this Daniel guy
Yeah.
decide to hem him up for 15 minutes? Okay, like
He
you
thought he was
said,
Captain
yeah, he's
America.
losing his shit. He's on there saying what he's saying, whatever. But if he's not physically
Yeah.
doing anything to anybody,
Oh, yeah.
what's the
Yeah.
problem?
And even in that situation, you could still subdue somebody. You could still
Uh,
handle it
Look,
without,
man,
you
you put
know,
somebody in a chokehold. The minute they go limp, you let go.
that's common sense.
The minute they go
That's common
limp and
sense.
they stop moving,
But
you loosen the grip.
even looking at that footage, which again, some of that stuff is desensitizing to me now at this point, is because I just thought if I was on the train, I'd be like, "Yo, my man, let him go. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Like it's done.
But
It's
weren't there
over."
some people telling him
And I
that?
didn't. I think some people were telling him that, but also people were trying to hold my man's hands, and it's like that's the worst thing you
Yeah,
can
let him
do.
fight.
All they had to do, no, I mean,
Well, I mean,
you could have broke it up.
well, that
You could
too.
have broke
Yeah,
it up
yeah,
and been
yeah.
like,
That would have been better. Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Break it up, break it up, break it up. And it's like, you go to that way, you go that way, and just be done
yeah.
with it. Like it's done. For some reason, you were triggered, and we have to talk about this young man's health. Uh, and I believe you told me that he's now being prosecuted.
Yeah. So an update because it came out a few hours, I think, before the show. Daniel Penny, which was the veteran that put Jordan Neely.
23,
Yeah, I think
24.
he's in his like 24, 25. Um, so yeah, Daniel Penny's going to be. He's been charged with second degree manslaughter, and it's being reported that he'll turn himself in. So, from my perspective, we'll see how it all ends, of course. But
Right,
at least he is being charged with something. He's not just going to walk away after taking a life. So
right,
that's a positive. Of course, I think anybody with an ounce of compassion would wish that it just didn't happen at all,
right.
but it did, and
But it's sparking a conversation here in New York where
sparking a
it's like,
conversation
what are we
everywhere.
doing
It's
about
not
it?
just New York, brother.
Yeah.
And
But what are we doing, with our mentally ill? Like,
well,
what
nothing.
what can we really do? But no, but how can we how so there's a situation that's happening in the city that was this past Christmas, this past not Christmas, this past winter. And just I'm thinking about Christmas because this happened roughly around that time frame in December that I'm by this building and I'm always in this area, I frequent this area. This woman would sit on a heating grate. So it's all concrete around, but there's this one little heater, like, vent that's just blowing hot
Mhm.
air up, venting out a building. And she would, with a blanket, you see this a lot here in the city. You'll see her put this blanket on her and just stay on that grate all night long or on very cold days. And all you could do is call 311 here in the city and just say, hey, there's somebody here. They look distressed. Can you check on them? And they'll be like, yeah, we'll stop by, but in the next 5 hours, come check up on them. And you're like, all right, thanks, I guess. I hope they're still alive, whatever the case is. And they show up, and all they can do is just say, hey, would you like to come with us to the
Yeah.
shelter? And the person can be like, no. And they're like, okay, good luck. And they're late. And it's just like, how do we curb some of this? That it's just like, we want to take you somewhere warm, offer you some soup, something, have you in a safe location.
Well,
I
I think that's
understand,
part of the problem is that some of those locations aren't safe.
which is another factor.
You know,
Or the person doesn't feel safe there because something might, there's something that's triggering
there
there
are
too.
people who have experienced trauma in shelters, and that's one of the reasons they won't go to them. They feel safer in a tent, in a tent city somewhere or whatever, whatever the case may be, but they feel
Well,
safer
this is
there.
no tent, man. This is just a blanket
No,
on a
I know,
grate
but
in
well,
New York.
here we're
Yeah.
having matter of fact, in Phoenix, they just did a sweep and kicked all the homeless people out and threw all their shit away.
Wow.
And so they're
Wow.
doing sweeps in Phoenix, and they're like, go to this shelter, and it's like, yeah, but the shelter isn't accessible. So you just took
Yeah.
everybody's shit, you just took all their where they slept, all their stuff, threw it away in garbage trucks, and told them go find somewhere else. That's a
And how
perfect
far is the
fucking
shelter
response.
from? How far is the shelter from downtown? Because usually it's out of
I
the way
mean,
too.
I don't want to quote. It was. That's literally what the one video, because I follow somebody who's up there
Yeah.
and is very involved with this on TikTok, and she does videos. So she
Yeah.
did videos showing them throwing all their stuff away, showing the signs and what they said. And she showed the sign, and she's like, because we know that this shelter is so accessible for the people here. So
Right.
it clearly isn't.
Right.
And they
Right.
just kicked everybody out. So we I'll say, the state of Arizona, we are failing, and I think clearly across the board, nationally, we are failing
Yeah.
people, and too often it gets blamed on things like laziness and people don't want to work and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. And it's like, guys, there's so many other reasons, and we have to look at sometimes people get so far behind that and nobody's willing to help them. So where do you
Well,
think they're
let's
going to
let's
end up?
let's let's get real about this. Is that 40,000 back in the 70s, uh, to have that kind of lifestyle, you would have to, due to inflation, be making 300 something K
Mhm.
in today's world, today's monopoly
Yep.
money. Um, Everything has gone up in price except for a paycheck.
Yes.
You cannot get ahead in this current system.
No.
It's not built for you to.
Nope.
It really is now the have and have nots. And that tent city is there to scare the shit out of middle class to not be one of them. And at the same time, it's like you're one paycheck away from
And
becoming
that's
that.
what they want. That is
Do you know
literally
what I
the whole
mean?
plan.
So we're not fixing it because that is the
Yep.
reality. It's there to freak you out. And to me, it's like, brother, I came from the bottom. I know what that shit's like. We struggled and we got through it, and we're doing well off, my family. But it's one of those things where it's like, there's an understanding that's there. A lot of factors that go into play, and a lot of it's sheer dumb luck too.
Hmm.
Being in the right place at the right time, but then also being who you are, it helps you get into those situations. But some people were not afforded that,
Yeah.
and that is the game of life.
Yep.
You know. Speaking of debt ceiling,
Yes. Debt ceiling. I I don't.
since we're dangling
Yeah.
the carrot
Since
over America's,
See, here's the thing with the debt ceiling crisis. I hate calling it that because what it really is the GOP holding us all freaking hostage, and they're using veteran.
are they
Oh, I personally think so. That's what I'm calling it. When you
okay?
are, they have pretty much. They. How was that? Did you hear that?
Someone coming?
That was
Yeah,
no, it was
someone
not
coming.
my window. That was weird.
Is it a bird?
Yeah,
Put a
it
bird
must
on
have
it.
been. So sorry, that just messed me up.
It's twice.
You all hear that, right? It's like
Marjorie Taylor Greene is outside throwing stones at your window.
I'm telling you. um, but with the debt ceiling crisis, it's like the GOP and Republicans have admitted that they want to negotiate. So, it's like what I want people to think about it. Think about it like if you're going in to put an offer in on a house, right?
Yes.
You're gonna when you ask your asking price, you're like, well, I'm gonna ask for 15, 20,000 more than what I expect the offer price to be. So I'm gonna ask for
Right.
170, but I'm gonna take 150.
Right.
Okay. So the debt
Right.
crisis is they're doing the exact same fucking thing. The Republicans are like, we want to cut 22% of general funding for the VA
VA.
and veteran
Yeah.
health care. We want to cut all this other stuff. We want to sit down and negotiate with the president. Bitch,
Right.
the president
Right.
just looked at you and said, we are not negotiating on a 22% cut on VA benefits. It's not happening. That's what the president said. So
Yeah.
maybe you
Yeah.
guys should stop using veterans as your leverage and actually give a shit about the American people. And oh, how about this? Since it was President Trump that increased the deficit by 15 to 25% in 4 years by himself, maybe the GOP should fund shit because it's your debt we're fucking paying.
It's interesting because part of that is Trump, and he did add a lot to it. The only president thus far who has actually balanced a checkbook,
Clinton.
Clinton,
Yep.
only one. So everybody has been adding to it. Bush, Obama, Trump, now
Been a steady.
Biden. Trump and Biden is interesting because they were fighting a global pandemic. I give them the credit that is necessary
Effort.
for doing what they had to do to fight off
Yeah.
this, because the whole world is fucked financially. Let's not even get
Absolutely.
it twisted. The whole world globally, financially, is having an
Yep.
issue.
It's
It's
us.
not just us. Period. Some of them are actually in deep recession mode, and they're just trying to claw their way out of the situation. We're just creating
Off in
man-made
some of these
issues
countries to be
completely. No, we are, and that's. I mean, we're doing so much better that we can literally have man-made crisis on our hands, i.e., this debt ceiling. And what's interesting is, and
uh,
I think about it, is as simple as you go to the restaurant, you buy everything on the menu, and then you say, "I'm not paying for this." You know, it's like that's not how that works.
that's
That's not how it
exactly
works.
it. Yep.
What do you want to buy? Do you want to order? Do you want some appetizers? Do you want a 5 course meal? You know what I mean? What kind of date is
Open
this?
bar,
Since
man.
America's
Open
speed
bar.
dating. My point exactly. And so it's like, okay, what are we paying for? That's the conversation moving
Yeah.
forward. But they don't want to have that. So okay, so let me ask you this: if the bargaining chip is the 22% on VA, which I asked one of my friends who's in the service, I go, how do you feel about this? That you're in the service now. You're not in the VA yet, but you're in the service now, and this is what the GOP is pushing for. Because I understand that you're against drag queens, and I understand that you don't understand the science or even have the compassion for anybody who's trans. And you feel like you need to be in your circle, your small echo chamber of sticking with the Republican Party because that's what they say. It's because of this that I vote
Yep.
Republican. And I go, well, that works for you, but that's not real. But here's your Republican Party now putting you on the chopping block, being i.e. the VA, as being the next factor of what they want to negotiate with. So if the negotiating factor is, and by the way, their response was, well, Obama, and I go, I'm not asking what the fuck Obama did. I'm asking you right now with what's in front of me. What do you think about this? And by the way, what Obama did was he approved a bill that was by Republicans. So
I was gonna say, I
again,
actually thought he approved a bill that funded something.
it not only funded, but he did a thing that was a cut that Republicans submitted. Democrats and Republicans were all on board.
It was a bipartisan bill.
Obama did it. It was a bipartisan bill. And so the thing that's interesting about this is, and I think about this is, if whatever McCarthy wants negotiated passes, let's just go down that path. Let's just say Biden gives
Okay.
in. It will become the talking point of all Republicans about what Biden brought into legislation and made into law that is affecting whatever American, even though it was the Republicans'
Yeah.
bill. So it's an interesting trap that they're trying to set them up in.
Well, that's exactly their. I don't want to say do it
Do you
all
know
the
what I
time,
mean?
but that's
That's
a
their
trap they
logic.
set often.
That's the
Yeah.
logic. That's the
Yeah.
logic. That's the game. That's the song and dance. And so my question is though, if the VA is to be brought off the table. All right, say that's the part that they're like, okay, there's no way he's going to go for that, so we know that he's going to pull that off. That's that 15,000 that you already know is going to
Yeah.
bring you closer to the
Right.
price. If that is the case, what do you think is the real negotiation that they want? Because I know they want to get rid of the IRS,
Yeah, they definitely want to
which brought in
curtail the increase
billions.
in.
It brought in billions this
Yeah.
year, billions.
They definitely want to curtail the IRS increase in manpower.
Yep.
I think they want to have a serious conversation. They want to make a serious dent on Social Security and Medicare. I think
That's the power
I
play.
really, and I hadn't really thought about it till you asked that question, but I really think because cutting veteran funding and healthcare, especially at such a high percentage, Like, you're not talking about a 3% cut. You're talking about almost a 25% cut.
That's almost
It's
a
almost a
quarter.
quarter.
Almost a quarter of the budget.
I mean, that is
Yeah.
a huge cut.
Yeah.
And any
You're taking
politician,
out a leg of that table.
yeah,
You're taking out
and
one
any
leg. Yeah.
politician that is worth their salt would know that doing that, following through on that, would be fucking career suicide.
Yeah.
Democrat or Republican, you follow through on that,
Yeah.
you are not getting elected again. Period. So it makes sense that they would be like, well, we'll give you that back. But like we
Right.
just said, but we want to have a serious conversation about Social Security. We want to have a serious question about Social Security disability. We want to have, we want to curtail how much money is going out. And it's like, well, I don't
Right.
mind having those conversations. The way that they're going about it is stupid. And I also want to point out the hypocrisy of, they upped the debt ceiling 3 times under Trump and didn't ask a fucking question. But now all of a
Yeah.
sudden, now that it's a Democrat
They care about
president,
budget.
oh my God, we're spending
Yeah.
all this money and we got to stop it. Don't do it on the backs of veterans, period. Stop setting your fucking soapboxes up on the backs of veterans.
But that's the thing that I feel is the giveaway that they wanted.
Yeah.
That was the extra chunk that they're like, okay, we'll give you the veterans, we'll give you that, but we need to take these out, and that's the part that I'm focused on. Like, what's really on the chopping block?
Game plan that they want, or that they're trying to play out, is they want to
Still get rid of Obamacare.
Well, they want to, I'm talking about even more generally than that. They want to cut legacy costs. That's all it is. They want to cut legacy costs, just like the car companies did. Let's look at it from a smaller scale that everybody can understand. When the car companies had an issue, they did an interview with Ford that I'll never forget. And the CEO at the time, the reporter was asking questions, and they were in his office, and he pulls this ledger out and he goes, "You want to see why Ford is so fucking in debt?" Well, he didn't say fucking, but he's like, "You want to see why they're so in debt?" And he pulls it open. I'm sure he did. And he says, "This right here is an employee. They make," and this was a long time ago, "they make $60,000 plus benefits, plus they're in a union, plus they'll get a retirement. So we have to pay into the pension, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to know what job they do?" And the guy was like, "What?" Or the lady was like, "What?" He says, "That's a janitor." He said, "A janitor is going to cost us at least $50,000 a year after they retire." That's legacy costs. The company has to pay for their workforce even after they're gone. So if you're a company and everybody's retiring at 62, 65, but they're living to be 80, well, now all of a sudden, now you got these companies that are paying 15, 20 years of pension to people. Whereas back in the day when they were giving these pensions out, people didn't live much past 4 or 8 years after they retired. So it wasn't as much money coming out. So you just have to look at it on a bigger scale, much bigger scale. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of fraud, waste, and abuse to go through and get rid of in the government, but trying to do it on the backs of veterans is not a good idea. And I honestly don't even like it being used as a bargaining chip. I feel like we're being used.
Well, you look at the rhetoric behind, Neil, Colin Kaepernick, and you're like, oh, I thought you were for the troops, and then it's like, and then here you are actually putting something in that would actually affect our troops, where Kaepernick was just a scapegoat that had nothing to do with our troops. And so it's interesting to see how this all plays out, because what really grabs me is, I probably shouldn't use grab. What really is but what's interesting is they always rely on the voter has short-term memory. And I feel like that's not true with our generation anymore.
Maybe not ours. I feel like definitely not Gen Z. Not from what I'm seeing.
Oh, Gen Z came to the table upset.
Well, and you
because they had to fucking do shooter drills.
I was just about to say, you said the reason why in the beginning of the show, because they're sick of the freaking shooter drills. They're sick of the anxiety. They're sick of it all.
Yeah.
So speaking of fear and fear mongering, let's move on to the border crossing and Title 42 expiring, because we're at 54 minutes, and I know we're trying to keep them within an hour or so. So the border crossing, and I know we were going to talk more about like me being here in Arizona, but I think we can talk a lot about just Title 42 and it being tied to COVID and the reason that that expiring and
Right.
us needing.
Were you for? Were you for Title 42?
I
Like, I mean,
understood
is
it.
it is it a
I understood it.
it wasn't every kind of country
Yeah,
in their own right. Like, we're not letting
we're
anybody in our
not letting
country.
anybody, and
Oh,
where there
it's
were,
let's get
yeah,
this
you
down.
guys
Let's
remember,
let's figure out
you
COVID.
remember where there were flare ups in other countries, and we came out. We're like, well, China
Right.
can't come here. Wherever there was a big flare up, it was like, okay, they can't come here now. And then eventually,
Right.
it was everywhere. So it was just kind of like, okay. But I understood the reason that they put Title 42 into place. And
Right.
I think for me, the only criticism that I would offer, constructive criticism that I would offer to the Biden administration would be, it would have been nice if they had had a better plan in place for this transition. I understand, and this,
Do you remember Afghanistan?
yes,
Okay.
but do you remember that?
They're not good at
No, no, no,
planning
no.
these
Hold
things.
on now. Afghanistan is completely different because Afghanistan, the timetable for that withdrawal was set under the Trump administration.
I do
They
agree with
did
that.
they did
I
they
do agree
set the
with that.
timetable, but they didn't have a plan in place. So when the Biden administration came in, they asked for an extension and the Taliban told them to fuck off and be out of their country by August 31st. The Biden administration said that they weren't going to be able to get it to do it correctly, and pretty much they were told, "Fuck you, you need to be out by this time."
Yeah, but see, that's the difference between you literally have all these soldiers. You're like, we'll get out when we say we're getting out, and we're going to do X, Y, and Z. Since we've already spent 20 years there, what's another year of us being like,
It
I
was
will
an
drop this
agreement.
fucking
It
bomb
was
on
an
you?
agreement.
I mean, look, I get it. He was on a peaceful. I'm going to get out, but it's like
Well, he was
that
following the
was that
agreement
was a
that was
shit
made
show.
under Trump.
And I agree with that. I knew that was going to be a factor, but I'm saying that he didn't stick the landing.
No.
And if he knew he was not going to stick the landing, he should have found a way to make that work.
Well,
Plain
but
and
look at it
simple.
this way too. There's another aspect that we're not mentioning. We lost 13 troops during that withdrawal. It went the minute you start
Mm,
fucking losing troops and
yeah.
you're in the middle of a withdrawal, oh, you bet your ass panic setting in. For the president, for Homeland Secretary of Homeland Security, yeah, they're all freaking the fuck out. So,
Yeah. Well, it's okay though, because Afghanistan literally just did itself in, and now they're in a bad situation.
which, oh my God,
Uh,
who would have ever predicted that?
who would have thought? Yeah. So with the border here, how do you feel it's executed? Because I do also have some to tie in with that you and I talked about. I think it's about maybe 2 weeks
Well,
ago,
look, man.
how they've done Harris dirty. They
Yes,
didn't prep her
we can talk about
correctly.
that. Look, man, it's like everything from the outside looking in as a citizen. Do I think they could have done better? Do I think we could have had a better plan in place? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I also acknowledge the bullshit back and forth that's going on. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
you got to take it for what it's worth. I have to acknowledge that Biden sent 1,500 troops down there, which is not a nothing.
Right.
It may not.
That's major.
Again, could we do more? Probably, but is it normal for us to send troops down to our border? No. So, let's give a little credit where credit's due.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We can still submit our constructive criticism and say, look, not saying this isn't going to be a problem and that we need to come up with some solutions, but Title 42 is expiring because COVID expired. The minute Biden came
Right.
out and said that COVID is over, that tied their hands a little bit because Title 42 was put into place for a national health emergency.
Right.
So that's what I mean. Knowing that was going to happen, I wish Biden would have just maybe waited another month or so to declare COVID was over. And
No, he was getting
I know
pressure.
he
He was getting
was,
pressure. He had to
but
do
like
it.
you
Yeah.
said, you're the president. If you know that you can't get this done the right way, fucking take the heat for the extra month or whatever, and get a better plan in place. Get more soldiers. That whatever the answer is, I just
Right.
feel like.
Just strategize. I mean, I feel like there's no tactician
But the
there
issue I
in
have
the in
too
the
is on the
administration.
right, the people that are pointing their fingers at Democrats, liberals, and Joe Biden. They have all this criticism in the world, but they don't have any fucking solutions. It's just like the healthcare plan. Oh, we're going to release it in 2 weeks. That was 4.5 years ago.
Bro, I think, oh, this is my dog, by the
Oh,
way. Um,
I
This is
dude,
Eno.
I love my German shepherds,
He
but
runs the
I
house.
think I've told my wife I think I'm
He's
gonna get a lap dog.
7.7
Yeah.
pounds, and I'm gonna tell you right now, oh, believe me, he thinks he's a pit bull. Thinks,
They're the best. They're the
thinks.
best when they think that.
Oh yeah,
So
he's
what
a
did you
big
want
guy.
to tie
Aren't you a
into
big guy?
the border?
So, but what I was gonna say with that is that I find it interesting. No, Baba, they don't want to smell you. What I find it interesting is that it's
No,
not
the
even letting me
ratings are
on there.
going to go
You
up.
cute little guy.
Keep them there.
Oh, there it is. There it is. It's like me and Baby Yoda right here. That's what's happening right now. This is my Baby Yoda. Um, what's interesting to me is that with the border aspect is I feel like they don't have a tactician there. I don't think that they have someone who's really looking ahead on everything. And like I said, even going into 2024, they're not paying attention. They're becoming a little pompous. They think that Trump is their guy that they're going to go up against, and they think they have this in the bag. So did Hillary. They need some people who are on the ground who are really like, yo, this is how the Rust Belt sees you.
Yeah.
This is what we need from you. Now, granted, I think he did a phenomenal job at the correspondence
Yeah,
dinner.
that was
I think he was witty. He was on top of it. I mean, look,
at
if that
least
was
he showed up.
his memory is sharp. You know what I'm saying? He showed up. He showed up. Sleepy Joe was awake. Okay, I'm
Well,
gonna
and
tell you right
I
now.
just love to point out the people that say that Joe Biden, isn't witty or isn't, sharp mentally. Like Donald Trump wouldn't even show up to
He
that
showed.
thing because he couldn't deliver a joke to save his life.
No, no, he was on point. He was and that was reading.
Hmm.
Like he was on
Yeah.
point. And he could read the joke and he could execute it. Little fluffs here and there, but everybody has
Uh,
those. But he did
and I
his thing. He did
just
his
got to give
thing.
a shout out to Roy. Uh,
Oh yeah. Wood
yes, thank
Jr.?
you, Roy Wood Jr.
Oh yeah.
Man, he was delivering some
His
fucking good
definition of
ones.
NFT, solid.
Yes, yes,
Solid.
and that
Solid.
is an
Holland Crow
NFT.
owns you see him,
But
but Holland
owns
Crow
them.
owns them.
That
And
is an
that is an
NFT.
NFT. I said, if that is not one of the best
That
words written for our generation,
it
that's
really
everything.
was. Matter of fact, I
That's
need to clip
everything.
that and
That
put
is
that one on my
everything.
Twitter page.
Yeah, that is solid because it said everything we need to know about the
Yep.
current state of
Okay,
America.
so we're
Yeah,
hour and 2 minutes in, so I'm just gonna blow through the last couple talking points.
yeah. What are you thinking?
Well,
Fast
so
track.
Bannon's home was swatted in Washington D.C. Again.
First off, let me say this respectfully. Fuck him and his stupid build the wall where he pocketed that money.
Yes,
Please
yes,
continue. Respectfully.
and
Respectfully.
that's fair. And I'm gonna go the opposite way and say this publicly because I say it every chance I get. I do not condone swatting, not even for this evil prick.
No.
Um, it's a waste of resources. It's a waste of cops' time. They could be out
Yes.
doing something,
And people can
and
get
people can
hurt.
get,
People really can
and
get hurt.
that's actually something I said. I said, look, one of the reasons I don't support swatting, on top of it just being wrong and a waste of resources, is because if our house got swatted, my wife being black, my kids being mixed, shit could go wrong, and that is
Yeah.
unfortunately a legitimate fear for minority families and families like and interracial families. So that's
Right.
a big reason that I say liberals don't support this shit. Don't play this because if they start playing it, it's going to go worse for us. And
Right.
so, yeah, even though we can all laugh about it and say, it couldn't happen, it couldn't happen to a more deserving asshole. It really isn't right, guys, and it's not helping deliver our message either. So, if you're out there swatting Steve Bannon, stop it. You just took a
But that
drink.
shit's funny as fuck.
It's like I'm just trying to be responsible. Damn it. Okay.
I have no
And
responsibility tonight. Thank you very
the
much.
last one that I want to talk about is the Twitter CEO shuffle. So it was Elon Musk came out. Oh, and by the way, Tucker Carlson getting a show on Twitter. Did you know that?
You know what I found out that ties in with this is that Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon have the same lawyer. Same lawyer. Look into this.
That seems like a
And
conflict of
Elon
interest or
also
something.
reached out. I feel like they're dating. I don't know. I don't know, man. They're both past their prime. But
Yeah,
anyways, let me not
I don't see
digress.
Don Lemon going for him though. Mm.
I'm like, that's what he wants you to think. No, Baba, that's okay. See, I told you he's tough.
You
Told you
hear
he's tough.
Tucker Carlson, he's like, where is he?
Yeah, I know. You want that little bow tie. So here's what I find interesting. Here's what I find interesting is that they, and look it up. I believe they have the same lawyer, and they both got fired the same day, which I think is hilarious, within an hour of each other.
Yeah.
And what I find interesting is that Elon also offered Don a job.
Well, from my understanding,
There's talk,
and
rumblings
that
of
may be
this.
true, because what I read from Elon, and look, man, I don't like Elon. I think he's evil. Like I feel like he's one of those evil people that is going to do wrong with all this shit. Um,
I don't think he's evil. I think he has too much fucking money and he just doesn't know what to do with
I
himself
don't know,
anymore.
man. Like the shit I see him posting on Twitter, it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, he is a
Oh,
narcissist. He
100%.
is a narcissist. But I I reserve evil for Hitler. It's like, you know what I mean? Actual evil, like shit.
Yeah,
Elon is a narcissist who can't. I mean, look, I'll tell you this. I'm really pissed at Bill Maher for that interview with Elon because it just looked like a fanboy and it looked like a circle jerk. And I'm just like, Bill, I usually love watching you kind of just like hit everybody and you don't care who they are. You look like a fan. And I'm not impressed.
yeah.
I'm not. I actually lost a lot of respect for Bill when he just sat there just gooing
But a
over
lot of
this
people do
man.
that with Elon. Like,
I don't get it. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's Elon shtick. He needs you to go easy on him, or he's not fucking with
oh,
you.
I 100% believe that. I 100% believe he
Donald Trump,
controls.
town hall,
Yeah,
like this is what I will do, or I will walk
yeah.
away immediately. You know what I mean? So they're very sensitive. All these
Oh,
people.
100%.
You know what I mean? And keep in mind, Elon Musk is not real. Like as in, he's not a real human being. He's been nothing but wealthy all his
Yeah.
life. So it's like he doesn't know how to be a human being. And therefore he's untouchable. And nothing is in the caliber of like having a real one-on-one conversation or dealing with real conflict in front of
Yeah.
you. You know,
Have somebody deal with it
it's
for you.
there's a new article that's out right now about who's actually running Tesla at this moment, who's actually making moves. The guy who's running it. I have to
Well, one
find.
of the largest
Excuse me. I have
shareholders
to find the article.
is trying to get rid of him. I think that's one of the reasons. I think that's one of the reasons why Elon is appointing a CEO of Twitter, because he's about to get booted out of Tesla by the shareholders, and
Yeah.
so he needs to go over and put that fire out now. I honestly do believe
Right.
that. I think he's naming this CEO so that he can say he's not CEO anymore, and he can go
Right.
devote some time to Tesla. Um,
Yeah. I mean, he needs to focus on SpaceX and he needs to focus on Tesla because Twitter was a terrible investment on his part,
Well, it
plainly.
is, and he's turning it
You
into
know.
a pay to play to cover for his mistake, which sucks.
Right.
But and
Right.
that's funny because all the blue mark, all these people are like, well, I'm going to block you if you have a blue check mark, and I'm like, okay, well, then fucking block me. I said I pay the $8 because I get all these benefits. It's not if I could honestly, if I
Yeah.
could turn the stupid check mark off, I would, and just keep all the benefits I get. But I post on there every day. I spend hours on there a day. I'm like, I spend more time on
Right.
that than I do Hulu, Netflix, anything. So for me, it makes sense. But to block, and I tell people this one, think about it this way. If Twitter becomes a pay to play and people who pay get 3 times their account boosted, 3 times the amount of people that don't pay, doesn't it make a little sense to have big accounts like mine who push our agenda and push our information to pay so that it's seen by people?
It's the town hall. You got to show up. You know what I mean? It's the town hall. But there's a part of it where I have to ask that how many people are actually posting versus reposting. And it's like there's only a couple of actual content creators like yourself. It's a small margin who are actually pushing the
The,
story, pushing the propaganda, or pushing
there
whatever
is.
message. And then a lot of it is circulated through
Oh,
reposting.
absolutely. You do it, it's like I tell people, it's like, oh, you do it for the clicks. No shit. Like if you're a content creator,
Right.
that's exactly what you're doing. You're
Literally
you're
what you
doing it
do.
to try to
Right.
spread whatever the message is.
That's why I'm opening a OnlyFans, and we'll see how that
I'm
turns
hoping
out.
that there's a market for hairy men, because if there is, I'm gonna be bringing in like no, from the head down, brother, from the head down.
That's some hairy toes, brother.
No, fuck that. The toes are the only shit that ain't hairy.
This is where everybody turns off the
Yeah,
show. This is where they're all
this
done
is
with us. They're all done with us.
no. Oddly
We had the
enough,
cute dog, now
this will
hairy
be where the
toes.
viewers shoot up.
Got some feet
And the
people over
only
here.
fan links will
I
be
like it.
no.
That's amazing.
So
That's
the
amazing.
funny, not funny because I don't know. I have no idea who he's naming, who Elon's naming for the CEO, but he has said that it is a woman. So I'm really hoping it's not Candace Owens. People have
I actually was about to say it'd be great if it was a black woman, but then you said Candace Owens. I go, oh fuck.
yeah.
That's Tammy. What's her name?
To-
What is her name?
Tony?
Tammy. Tony Lauren. What's that?
Yeah.
What's that blonde haired chick?
Tommy
What is her
Lahren.
name? Tommy Lahren. Candace Owens is Tommy Lahren in blackface.
Oh.
Prove me wrong.
Yeah. No, I don't see.
Prove me wrong. They don't want her anymore because she's not the brand. They can't work with, because every one of my conservative friends always shows me Candace Owens clip, and I'm like, is that your one black friend that you have? Like her, this chick?
Yeah.
That's what you're. And they're like, see, this is what black people are saying. I go,
That's not what black people are saying.
No,
That's
what your girl who's paid for
black people are
is
saying.
Right. I go, there is a thing called a house nigga, and you know what? They used to do the same thing back in the day, girl. Back in the day, for massa.
Yeah. I'm sorry,
I
that's a little
call
too
it.
accurate
I'm gonna call
history
it.
for these parts.
Oh, I'm sorry. We can't teach
You
this
can't
in
teach
Florida.
that shit
Sorry,
around here,
kids.
man.
Can't teach this in Florida. I apologize.
Shit, Arizona's not going to be much better soon.
No.
So with that, is there anything you wanted to bring up or talk about?
I'm looking forward to, because right now there's too much jumbling going on. I want to see what happens if we have a recession. Because if we have a recession, that's going to be really terrible for Biden, which then I think is going to get him into a dogfight. Right now, he's flying high on numbers. I understand his ratings suck, his polls suck, but the economy is strong. What's going to be interesting is if we have a recession, how that flips everything on its head. And if not Trump, who? Because DeSantis is clearly busy getting knocked the fuck out by a mouse. And he's going to be busy with that because he's deflating. He is a blow up fish. So if it's not those two heavy hitters that they claimed to be, I love how they're both from Florida or owning Florida. Who will be the question? And I don't know yet how I feel about Kennedy and his anti-vax message and whatever he's bringing to the table, what that means for the Democratic Party. So there's a couple things that time is going to reveal.
A plant. I really think Kennedy is being put in the race to fuck with the numbers.
Okay, I can see that. I can totally see that. I mean, but at the same time, I still would like to see a contender to Biden just to show. It can't be Bernie. I love Bernie, but it can't be Bernie.
Well, he's already said said he's not.
Yeah, no, he's.
I mean, look,
he served his part.
For Democrats and liberals, I think for us to sit here and say that Joe Biden is the best we have to offer, it would be wrong.
But he's Wonder Bread. We know what he is.
Well, it's not even that. Look, let's look at it from a standpoint, from political advisor standpoint. Okay?
Right.
If you look at the history of votes and elections and all of that, the incumbent always has a massive advantage. And unfortunately, a lot of the people that make the calls, that are in the game,
right?
They are going to play that same playbook, and they're going to be like, "Well, Joe Biden's the incumbent. He's done a good job. Plenty of things for us to use for his platform going into 2024." But is he going to be able to overcome these issues that people clearly have on both sides of the aisle? I agree with you. Why one side of me would love to see like a Katie Porter or somebody step up and be like, you know what, fuck this,
Mm,
I'm going.
mm, mm.
I'd love to
She's too
see it.
real, though. She's too real. She's
She
too
is
real. And
real.
she comes with the graph and the chart, and like we're not ready for that in America. We ain't
Make
trying to learn.
you know what
We
I'm
ain't trying to
saying?
learn like that.
Like let a
Yeah.
woman like that let somebody who thinks like that become president and see what the fuck happens.
Well, my vote is Gretchen, Big Gretch,
I would love to see the two of
because
them. Give
she
give
comes
me
in.
give
She
me
comes in
Gretchen
swinging.
Whitmer and freaking Katie Porter on a ticket and I'll vote for it.
It's quite interesting to see what is there in the ranks, and like we talked about in the past that Kamala Harris was set up to fail almost.
Yeah, I
They
definitely
just
don't.
didn't
I
they didn't really
definitely
put her in a position of success.
and
Um,
I blame both Democrats and the Biden administration in general for not setting her up to be the next heir apparent. The fact that
it
we asked that question of who else could step in and
right,
Kamala is not the first word out of our mouths
right, right,
means that the
right.
Democrats have failed at setting that woman up to be the next person.
Just to put her in a position of leadership, and it's like, you really question why they didn't really put her in that boot camp of like, yo, this is how you lead, like
Yep.
how you really lead.
And
And
we're gonna make sure that we build you up so
right,
that when we're done, you're going to be ready to go.
right, because she is not.
No, fuck no.
She's nowhere near. And even if she was running like 2024, if she was running 2028, it's like who? Because
Well, I
it's
mean,
not, the brand's not there. The brand is not there. It's kind of tainted. Um,
yeah, yeah.
But you look at people like Gretch. Uh, damn shame what happened to Cuomo. Not damn shame. Fuck him. You know what I mean? We talk about people who
It sucks that he
there's no
turned out to.
cult.
Sucks that he turned out to be that person.
Hey, I just love that it's his own law that was passed that got him in the ass. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like straight up, like you got by your own shit. Like it's
Yep.
and it just shows you how narcissistic it is, and some of these people. But he was a NEPA politician. You know what I mean? You going off your dad's coattails,
Yeah.
and we don't need it. We don't need it. We don't. I don't need legacy. I'm not interested.
Yeah. We need to make
Um,
sure the Trump legacy ends here as well.
it's true, and and at the same time, it's looking at who plays the game. But if anything for you boys and girls who watch this, and you're thinking about getting into the game, just know that if a motherfucker like Santos, if that is his real name, can become a senator, you too can do it. Just do it the right way,
Yep.
and that's the only thing we could ever ask for.
Yep.
Plain and simple. Plain and simple.
I think that's the best place to end it. Is we need representatives that we can trust again. We need
Yeah.
representatives that yeah, we're not going to agree with everything a politician votes on or does,
No.
but I would just like to be back to a place where I can look at my representatives and go, you know what? But I know that they're doing their best for the majority.
Yeah.
I would just love to be able to say that because Democrat, Republican, I can't look at any of them and be like, you know what? I know you're doing your best for everybody.
Right.
I know you're doing your best because at the end of the day, Democrat or Republican, what a lot of these representatives need to remember is that while yes, you were voted in by one party, you still represent every single person in your district.
Yeah.
And when you come out and say anti-LGBTQ, anti-trans, anti-black, when you come out and make those comments, you are literally looking at constituents in your districts and saying, fuck you, I don't care about you. And I want to get back to a place where people actually give a shit again and are willing to put their their name, their reputation, and everything on the line to do what's right. Because if you look back in history, the people that made change were the ones that put their lives, their names, and their reputations on the line to do what the fuck was right. That's what we
I'm
need to get
interested.
back
I'm
to.
interested to see what happens with Liz Cheney now that you say that, because she did exactly that.
Yeah. I mean,
And
granted,
I think it's weird
some of
to
her
say that about
positions
her.
are still very, very conservative for me, but
But that's exactly what we talked about.
it is.
It's not about it's. But she put her
But
name
she
and her
put
brand on the line, and
and
she died
lost her
on that
seat
hill.
and
And she
lost
was,
her
but at
seat.
the same time, she ain't go nowhere. And she comes from a legacy family, but at the
Yeah.
same time, she's doing it her way. And I give her credit for that,
I think we're
because the
going to
game is not.
I think, just like I left the Democratic Party a few months ago, I think
Yeah.
we're going to start seeing a lot of people, start to go independent and be like, look, you got to earn my vote.
Just
Like you're
like your
not, you're
girl
not,
Cinema. Woo
I
woo.
mean, yeah, Cinema's a prime fucking example. Like she's gone full, GOP talking points. Like
But she said she would never join them. So there you go. She just votes
you
with them.
bitch, you're voting with them. You've already joined them.
I think she's
What
having lunch with them. That's what it is.
lunch? She's
She's at
having
their lunch
dinner.
table.
She's
She's at their lunch table. That's all it is. That's all it is. They'll say
the
no more. They'll say no more. I don't want to
yeah,
end
I
on that
know,
note.
I know. I'm gonna, but we need to. I think we're gonna start seeing more independence until we get to a point where we have more viable parties.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to see more viable parties for a long time, if ever.
Yeah.
So I think the more realistic expectation and goal needs to be ranked choice voting. I
Yeah.
think more independence and enabling ranked choice voting are the two ways that we can fix the system, and the people can actually take the power back.
Well, I'm excited to see every conservative who talks about inflation, drag queens, trans, and every other culture war, but yet has no viable like solution, but
Hmm.
just wants to scream about a problem that is made up in their own heads. Um, I'm interested to see what happens at this next. I don't care about polls. Don't go off
No,
polls.
but
They've
like you
lost.
said, I just
They've
and
lost.
I'm going to end it on this. What you said earlier and what you said just now is that we have to shit. I lost it.
Pussy
Uh,
grabs back.
what's that?
What?
What'd you say?
Pussy grabs back.
No, 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 no. I was reading and trying to say something. Um, oh my god, I should have had that video queued up just so everybody could see it.
It's so good. It's so good.
But no, man, we're gonna get to a point, and I want to see, I want to see where things go too. But I really do believe that we need to get to out of this two party system, and
Yeah.
voting for the lesser of
Yeah.
two evils. That really is a big part of our problem.
It doesn't work.
So hopefully
It
we
really
can
doesn't work.
can get through that, and accomplish that at some point. But we're not going to do that today. So
No.
on that note,
No.
brother,
No.
thank you so much for coming on. I enjoy our hour chats. So go take care of that baby.
Yeah, man. You talk about the dog, right?
Well, I was talking about the actual baby, but you know,
He's right here. He's sleeping right next to me. Love you and the fam, man. Thank you so much for
yes,
having me.
yes,
It's such a pleasure. You
yeah,
be
man.
safe. I'll talk
You
to you
too,
soon.
brother. And I'll leave it as I always do with much love. Keep fighting, and remember, if you're going through anything, it takes much more strength to ask for help than to keep going down the road you're going. And don't let anybody shame you for asking for help. All right. As always, much love. Keep fighting.